First of all, if you move into New York City, do not move here during peak moving season, if you can help it. I moved here in August and I ended up subletting until like January, February. And that is when I found out apartments have the most availability and they're the cheapest. That's right, move in the winter. I know people don't like doing that, but that is a humongous money saver. Landlords typically will lower rents in the winter, and they also are a little easier on like credit qualifications and how much money you have and all that stuff. They're a little easier on it because they know that the bulk of their rentals have gone in the fall and in the spring when everyone else is moving. So now you're in the middle of winter and they want to get rid of inventory. And that is where you come in to snatch it up and get it for yourself. I'm Monica Link, the shopping queen, here to give you shopping tips on literally everything. And today I want to talk about New York City real estate and major city real estate. So I have been a lease holder on multiple Manhattan apartments. And just for a little backstory, I came to New York over 10 years ago with literally nothing. I had a job and $400. And that was my story in getting to the city, subletting like crazy, and then finally saving up my security deposit. Nobody helped me get that money. And then I got my first and then other apartments. And I want to tell you, if you're moving to New York City, how to get an apartment. So first and foremost, you do not have to pay insane broker fees. I know the internet likes to tell you that you need $500,000 to move to New York, and that is a lie. Now with inflation, it is more money than it used to be. So I'm going to give you the absolute truth on how much money you need and how to get around paying the broker fee. Now let's just say you can't move during that time of year. You have to move during the peak season. I'll tell you two things about moving in the 5 boroughs, especially Manhattan. Money is king. That's right, cash is king. And don't forget it, the more cash you have to put down, the better off you will be. So the income stuff is pretty rigorous. They look at your bank account. They look at whatever you want to submit. If you got like a healthy stock market account or something you can submit, all of that helps you with your competition. So I know you're wondering, how do I get around the broker? You can. And there are a few places where you can. One of them is Zillow. There's brokers on Zillow, but there's also landlords on Zillow. Craigslist, there's brokers and landlords. So if you can find a building with a direct link to the landlord, the management company, they don't want to pay the brokers either because the fees go both ways. So if you can find a direct to landlord or a direct to management company situation, then that will help you out a lot. Now, where do people find this information, where you can find reviews of management companies? You can do a Google search and a Yelp search, and people do list the names of management companies and they rate them. They rate how their building is, they rate how they deal with them. And so that is a huge deal, and that is something to take advantage of. I have literally never paid a broker fee. I came into this city subletting and getting roommates and then got my own apartments. And I tell you, I have still, in 10 years, have never paid a broker fee and don't plan to if I don't have to. How much time you need to search? So you need about 2 months to search, to just hard search. And you need to have all your money when you're searching. You need to spend months before that just looking and saving and finding out the names of buildings, the names of neighborhoods. You need to narrow the neighborhoods down to 2 or 3 neighborhoods if you can. And then you need to look out for listings, as many as you can, and go to open houses. Even if you're not going to put money down on it, go to open houses, see how the layout of the neighborhood is, see what stores are in the neighborhood. So that is how you do your research. The other thing is, some real estate agents do deal with no broker apartments, but you have to look hard for them. And sometimes they're hard to find. And just a word of caution, if you're coming to the city and you have a limited budget, I actually had this happen with a real estate agent that They told me they were going to send me listings and call me back. I told them how much I wanted to spend, and they never called me back. So as a baseline for anybody moving to the city, you're new here, for a roommate in current market conditions, you're gonna need at least $1,300 to $1,500 a month minimum for a roommate. And then if you're going solo by yourself, you're gonna need about $2,000 a month to get a studio in a decent neighborhood. Sometimes you can find a rent controlled apartment or something cheaper or smaller scale. It depends on if you're looking in Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, or the Bronx. So that really, really, really does depend. In Manhattan, I've lived in Manhattan the entire time I've lived here. I've lived uptown and I've lived closer to downtown. And I can tell you that you can find pretty much anything in this borough between, I'll say, right now prices are really high. So the lowest you're probably gonna get is maybe $1,800. It's probably the lowest in Manhattan. You can probably do a little bit better in the Bronx and mildly better in Queens. Brooklyn depends on, if you go further out in Brooklyn, you might be able to do better than that, but that's really what you're looking at. So you're looking at a $3,600 down payment for an apartment, including you may have to additionally pay for a key fee. You may have to pay an application fee. Every management company is different, but that's going to be the baseline. If you're moving to the city, $3,600 is what you're going to need to put down on an apartment. If you move into a sublet or roommate situation, which I highly recommend if you're flying solo, it's the cheapest way to get into the city. You can find all types of listings on a ton of different websites. I think even Zillow is getting into roommate listings. There's a ton of apps, websites. I like good old-fashioned Craigslist. The people on there are not crazy. I actually had a roommate who's still a really close friend of mine right now, years later. So those experiences can be really positive. You do just have to look around and you have to be brave. Like, you just have to be brave enough to ask people how much this is and ask them, hey, I only have $2,000 to put down. Can I put that down? I only have $1,500. Or if you find yourself, you got a new job and you need to wait for your first paycheck, some people are really nice and just bring what you have. Hey, I can put this down. I actually had somebody do that for me in the beginning when I was moving here. So it is possible. There are really nice people in the city who want to rent to good people. They want good, solid, working people to rent to and from them. So I recommend asking, opening your mouth and asking people and asking around the city. And if you live in a city and you are struggling with your landlord and they've skyrocketed rent, please try to negotiate with your landlord as hard as you can. I actually have had to negotiate rent increases, and it is possible to get those numbers lowered so that you don't have to move. And if you do have to move, I would say to survey your neighborhood. If you really love your neighborhood, just spend some time before your lease comes up and you know that you don't want to pay that. Look around your entire neighborhood and all the outlying areas to your neighborhood, and then there you will find places that are probably less than yours. I've found apartments in my neighborhood that are cheaper. I haven't wanted to move yet, but I am absolutely ready to make a move to another apartment if this situation feels too expensive for me, or if I want more space. So I know where to go and what parts of my neighborhood have a little bit lower pricing. So that is it for real estate. For more shopping tips and how to save lots of money, click those buttons and hang with me, and I will share more with you. I'm the shopping queen. See you soon.